with Brendan O'Neill, editor of Spiked Online and enemy of all things crazy and woke. Good morning to you, Brendan.
Hi, Julia.
I feel like we've basically established in the last year a regular feature. It's either Thursday or Friday when I speak to you, where we just talk about the latest madness that goes on. And you and I just have a little sort of cathartic moment of sanity, which I like to think that the country would welcome. Let's talk about two different stories. First up, a new Channel 5 drama about Anne Boleyn. I mean, I'm not saying that people are going to be queuing up to tune in, are they? But it's going to be starring a black actress, Jodie Turner-Smith, in the title role. I've not heard of her. I've not heard of many actresses, to be fair.
The staggering hypocrisy of this is really something. You know, you're absolutely right. The wokerati are obsessed with the idea of cultural appropriation. They're constantly policing racial barriers and cultural barriers. You know, Scarlett Johansson and Tilda Swinton are both actresses who've got in trouble for playing non-white characters. And you remember Zoe Saldana, who's an actress with black heritage, she was told that she wasn't black enough to play Nina Simone.
I mean, wow.
Really shocking policing of racial barriers that the woke lobby is obsessed with doing. But then when it comes to Jodie Turner-Smith playing Anne Boleyn, they don't have a problem with it. And in fact, they celebrate it as a wonderful breakthrough. Now, as it happens, I don't particularly have a problem with Jodie Turner-Smith playing Anne Boleyn. I think historical characters are a bit different, because if you think of Shakespeare's history plays, for example, the Richard plays and the Henry plays and King John, if we said that no black actors could play those roles, that would really limit a lot of theatre for black actors and black actresses. So I don't have a problem, but the people who are not allowed to say that they don't have a problem are the woke elites, because they are obsessed with cultural appropriation and they have exposed their hypocrisy to the world.
And you get this thing, well, you can only play a trans character if you're trans. You can only play a disabled character if you're disabled. I think gay character if you're gay. People seem to have forgotten this thing called acting, which I thought the whole point was that you tried to be something that you were not. And again, I'm like you. I really couldn't care less what colour the skin is of the person playing a role. And I know we're not going to be in a situation. We've got Larry Olivier, a white actor, playing Othello, very famously. I mean, it was all a bit bizarre looking at it now. Someone blacking up in that way, and we understand the background to that. But I just think this is the sort of thing that most viewers just don't care about, and yet we constantly have to talk about it.
It's exactly as you say. It's called acting for a reason, because you're pretending to be someone that you aren't. You're embodying someone else, and that's the whole point of acting. It used to be seen as a pretty noble art, a pretty good thing, to try and become someone else. But now, because the woke elites are so obsessed with representation and race and gender and everything else, they say, well, you can't act as a trans person unless you are trans. You can't act as a black person unless you are black. So they've got themselves into a real muddle. And on the Jodie Turner-Smith issue, if they were consistent, they would say, this is an outrage, this is cultural appropriation, we're taking away the truth of Anne Boleyn. Yeah. But of course, they're not saying that, because they're idiots and hypocrites.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if a white actor was cast as Nelson Mandela, I mean, are you kidding me? That would go down. I mean, it's ridiculous. And it's just crazy. Let's also talk about another story that's in the news, made the front page of some of the papers. The England cricketer Ollie Robinson making his England debut, the fast bowler who plays for Sussex. He's had to do the usual, get on your knees, apologise unreservedly, wring your hands in shame, look tearful for a number of what we're told are racist and sexist messages that he posted on Twitter back in 2012, when, by the way, he was 18 years old. Okay, not a child. He was an adult then. But the tweet, I've read the tweets that are supposedly these awful things that he has sent, and we're showing a video now of his sort of mea culpa apology. I have to say, the things that he wrote that are sexist, I've got to be honest with you, as a woman, don't bother me in the slightest. The tweets that he sent were racist. It was talking a sort of a very misjudged joke about, it's basically a Prince Philip-esque slitty-eyed sort of joke about an emoji for what Asian people use. It's not something it's not a joke you or I would make and most people would make now. It's not a very good joke. It has racist undertones, but it's not doesn't make you think he's a member of the KKK. This offence archaeology on Twitter, as soon as someone comes into the public eye, it's quite terrifying, isn't it?
It's really shocking, this digging around for any kind of dirt that you can find, for anything untoward or stupid or unpolitically correct that people said in the past, that you can wield as a weapon against them in the contemporary period. It's a really low form of politics. As you say, he was 18 years old. That, in my view, that is old enough to know better.
Yeah.
But some 18-year-olds are different. Some are mature and some are still really like 15-year-olds. So he was a bit of an idiot. He said some stupid stuff. But the idea that you should hold that against him in his adulthood, I think is ridiculous and really shows the vindictive culture we've created around cancel culture, offence archaeology. But also, again, we're facing double standards, because recently there was a BBC reporter who was exposed as having said Hitler was right during the last Gaza conflict. She's a Middle East reporter for the BBC. I think that's a far more serious situation, because she was an adult, and that was a grotesquely anti-Semitic thing to say during the Israel-Gaza conflict in 2014. And there has been some fuss, of course there has been, but not as much as there has been over other.
And not by the same people. And again, the king of the woke brigade right now, Prince Harry. I mean, we've got photographs of him dressed up as a Nazi at a fancy dress party. Again, it's not something I would do. It's a fancy dress party. You don't have to dress up as nice people at a fancy dress party, guys. That's why people dress as zombies. They're not nice either. It's just this need that people have to just dig stuff up, to find something, to point at other people. It is witch hunter stuff. It's McCarthyism. It's witch hunter. It's very, very sinister. And all I think, again and again, the people who are doing it are people like, what is the purpose they're trying to serve? What does anyone benefit from the knowledge that this man, that he 8 years ago, 10 years ago, whenever, posted tweets saying this? What have we learned? What have we achieved?
It really is just the thrill of being part of a mob, part of a witch hunt, waving your torch around as they would have been doing if it was 300 years ago.
These were the bullies in the playground, weren't they? They were the bullies in the playground.
They were, absolutely. These are the people who would have pointed a finger at some teenage girl 300 years ago and said, she's the witch. They love being part of that mob, part of that witch hunt. It gives them a thrill. It makes them feel important. It makes them feel part of a movement. That's what's really grotesque about this. They're actually not doing it to make society a better place or to expose racism where it genuinely exists. They're doing this to get a cheap thrill from destroying someone's life. It's really horrible.
You absolutely nailed it. As always, editor of Spectre Online, Brendan O'Neill, thank you very much indeed.